Hey everyone, and welcome to today's conversation and interview with one of our speakers from the Women Thrive Summit 2026. Today I'm joined by Emily Jackson. Hi, welcome, Emily.
Hi, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, wherever you are. But it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm excited for our conversation.
I'm really excited to take a peek what's behind your talk at the Women Thrive Summit and for our audience to get to know you. And I just want to say something has arrived a month late in my inbox this week.
Yay! Yes, I have mine too. Oh, that was like just so amazing to have that opportunity, and I've given a copy to my parents and my in-laws, and of course I've got my copies as well. And it was a pleasure speaking with you to do our interview there, and amazing. So if you have not checked out the Women Thrive magazine, not just for my article and the January edition, but I would really encourage anybody that wants to be inspired, is looking to feel seen, to subscribe and start reading that magazine.
Oh, I love that. I know obviously you've done the specific photo shoot and we had an interview, but we're going to dive into a bit of your story about the
Mhm.
topic you're speaking about because it's a crucial topic for our audience. Because I think a lot of women struggle with that confidence piece, maybe that syndrome, and really maybe stepping forward towards the opportunities that lies ahead because we tend to
Yes.
overthink it and maybe sell ourselves a little bit short. And as someone who has switched multiple careers, been through different stages of your career and personal development, I think there are some things that you could shed a light on for our audience. So before
Absolutely.
we begin, I want to say today we're going to be talking about switch up and step up to your true purpose with Emily Jackson. This is actually the title of her talk at the Women Thrive Summit. So if you haven't already, go register for your spot. This was the January edition that Emily featured at the Women Thrive magazine. And as someone who, again, has had a professional career in sales and have had multiple career transitions, she has published a book and now is really experienced mentor for other people who may be wondering what's next, and they might be thinking about, hey, I have that self-doubt or anxiety or confusion in which direction to go. Emily really helps you hone into your purpose and your path and the direction that you want to go. So I'm excited to have you here, Emily.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
Tell me about what lights your fire about the work that you do with women.
Yeah, I definitely have never been someone. Oh, I mean, I feel like I've gotten to it now, but growing up, I was never someone who knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I think a lot of that stemmed from lack of self-confidence. I thought, what am I even good at? I'm very quiet, very introverted, and I thought, gosh, what could I thrive at? I wasn't sure, and so, as we kind of talk about in the article, if you check that out. That I really just kind of fell into the fitness industry because I love working out. I love fitness, and I thought, oh, okay, that's probably something I could be good at. And while there were some good aspects to that job that I liked, I really didn't see, I really wasn't like passionate about where my future would be with that, and I didn't feel like I was just where I was meant to be. And, I think a lot of that is because I didn't know what my strengths were. I didn't know what I was actually good at. And I was only thinking of, maybe a couple things that maybe people told me I was good at. And so I think once I was able to self reflect and really learn about myself and my strengths, I was able to then pivot to different career paths.
Yeah. I speak to a lot of young people who feel the same way. Like,
Mm.
you don't know, you haven't really explored life enough. You may not really know what your strengths or what your passions are. You kind of drift and let life take its toll, which actually is not very conducive for growth and getting to a specific path. Because if you don't determine your destination, somebody else will. And that's
Yeah.
what usually happens. But as you said, a lot of times comes from lack of confidence and lack of experience, which at that age you just don't have.
Right.
How have you been able to kind of carve your confidence and carve your destiny out despite some of those unknowns that you've experienced as many others?
Yeah, I think a couple different ways. One way that I always like to, talk to women about is building your network and really relying on and honing in on mentorships and other women that are in your network. And this doesn't even have to be like a formal mentorship. I know especially when I was younger, I thought mentor, like that's something, I don't know. I just didn't think that people really had mentors. But the further I get in my career, I realize that literally your coworker can be a mentor. Someone that you are just affiliated with on like an online organization can be a mentor. People that you're connected with on LinkedIn and so on. And I really found that that outside perspective of your strengths and who you are can be really mind altering and can really be something that opens up your mindset of, okay, I didn't think I was good at that, but this outside perspective says I am. And wow, okay, maybe I can start actually, growing in that area because I am, I do have that strength. And I think that's really nice to kind of hone in on that. So I would think your network and, people that you're kind of looking at as a mentor is definitely a key. And then I would also think when you're thinking about things you're good at, your strengths, think outside the box, not just those like hard skills, but think about soft skills. Like, are you an empathetic person? Are you someone that
Oh, we lost there with Emily just for a second. So, if you're joining this conversation right now, and as we're talking about mentors and being able to find your destination, what I would love to do is invite you to the Women Thrive Summit. Now, this is our annual women empowerment event of the year. And if you're lacking guidance, support, direction, and perhaps you don't know maybe what's next, maybe you're going through reinvention or trying to find something else that is in your alignment, join a Women Thrive Summit, because in our conversations in this 1 week long event, you're going to meet a diverse range of women with different life experiences, different passions, purposes, and businesses. So you can learn from these conversations and you can learn from their paths, their stories. During the Women Thrive Summit, what we do really well is that we gather all these amazing women who can become your mentors, your guides, your coaches. And, when we start this conversation, you learn so much from one another. And I know that this summit has changed so many lives for women. They tapped in, they heard somebody else speak, they've seen somebody else take a certain route to success, and they thought, hey, it's possible for me too. So sometimes you have to be in these spaces, in these environments, surrounded by other people who are already doing it or a little bit ahead of you in order to grow and figure out your path to success. Now, I'm going to go back to Emily because she was sharing something really, really important about this subject. And I want you to listen. I want you to tap in. And even if you are further ahead, or maybe you're already at a pivotal point of your career, listen, it's never too late to be inspired or listen to somebody else and think, well, there's always more, because there is always more, and there's always something to strive for. Emily, I know we lost you there for a second,
yes.
so I just filled in that space to remind women how important it is for us to be in a spaces like the Women Thrive Summit and have these conversations and aspire to something else or hear how other people doing it.
Right. And I think, along my journey, that's been the most inspiring thing. I'm definitely really involved in my company's women's ERG as well. And just having that support system of even just like talking casually with people about, hey, I'm kind of thinking of this career progression. And do you think I could do this? Or just asking, hey, how did you accomplish this? Or what did you do when you were looking for your next step? I think that is just so helpful to realize, you know what, they were able to do it. if they can do it, I can do it. And I think that's a really nice, something to think about when you're thinking of, what is my next step, and how do I know how to get there? You're not alone. You always have people that you can rely on and get feedback from that have been there. They've done that, and they're going to share what their path was. I'm not saying it will be the exact same for you. That's totally fine. But you'll kind of get in that mindset of, okay, well, here's some steps that they took, and let me maybe try those out and go from there. And another thing I'll say about that too is everyone's journey is different, right? I mean, something that I find so valuable about the Women Thrive community is that all of our experiences are very different in a lot of ways, but at the same time, we've all gone through, moments of doubt and moments of triumph, moments of trials, and that's how we all are in life, right? Whether it's men or women or whatever it may be. And we're all going through, similar things, but how we react and how we support each other is really, what can help us move forward and help us to continue to progress in personal and professional life.
Yeah. Emily, I think that's so true. It's like you got to surround yourself with different people and have those different conversations. Because what happens is when you're in an echo chamber of the same, you don't really get out of status quo. If you've always grown up in this area and you've always just hanged out with those people, or,
Mhm.
it just becomes the norm. But
Right.
I think with surrounding ourselves in this community, and you've been in the speakers group for quite some time, you realize that wow, there's these people doing that and they doing that, and they somebody's traveling their world and somebody's living like that. So it's like
Mhm.
it starts to challenge your belief system. How important it is for us to be challenged and challenge ourselves? What do you think?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love that you said that because when I first got into the Women Thrive community, I just was just so in awe of everybody in the group. Just wow, they've accomplished so much. Like these women are just amazing. And they were so supportive in my kind of being more of a beginner and as a speaker, and they said, hey, we all started as beginners as well, and you just kind of practice and get better. I mean, we all know the saying of practice makes perfect, right? So that's how it is when you're determining your next career move and when you're determining, what you're really good at. Sometimes you just have to try things out, get out of your comfort zone, and it actually turns out to be something that you're really good at and that you love. And I think that's been the thing that I'm really most proud of about myself is stepping out of my comfort zone and just taking the leap in a lot of different ways, whether that's with speaking or my career path, and just saying, what? What's the worst that can happen? Someone's going to say no, or someone's going to say that's not for me. That's okay. I'm at least
Mm.
I'm giving it a try, and I feel good about that. And even if what I'm doing isn't for everyone, it's still something I'm really passionate about, and then something that I can feel good about. Hey, I'm giving it a try. I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it works wonders when you actually start to do that and start to practice that more often.
Right.
So you'll talk switch up and step up to your true purpose. What can women expect during the summit?
Yeah, so I will talk through my personal story of how I felt lost in my fitness career, and how that really, you know me, Ramonda. I like to be very step by step, and so I'll share my story, and then I will absolutely kind of give you some step by step guides that if you're thinking of, hey, I really want something different in my life and my career path, and I don't know where to start. I'm going to take you through some guided steps of a self reflection journey that I went through, so that you can then hone in on that as well. And then that will help you determine your next steps for your career path. And then I will also talk about once you get there, hey, I've made this accomplishment. I've gotten to where I want to be in my career. Ugh, yikes, what's next? I'll talk about how to continue your success in that new career path and continue on your self-reflection journey. One thing that really makes me think about a lot of the conversations we have with the Women Thrive community is different, stages in your life. Your values are going to change throughout your life. What's your purpose, and what you want to do may change throughout your life. And so that's important to continually have that self-reflection journey and say, hey, this was for me 10 years ago, but now I need something different, and that's okay to do. And I'm going to help you in doing that as well.
Yeah, yeah, so, so important. I just see
Mhm.
somebody saying, stepping out of your comfort zone got you placed on the cover of the Women Thrive magazine.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes it's what you gotta do. It's like if you don't really venture out beyond your front door, you don't know the adventure you could have. And you
Right,
really that's the barrier of the comfort zone. Like
right.
it's nice, it's comfortable,
Hmm.
but you're not going on adventure, and that's what it
Right.
requires you to do, really.
And I really found too, my personal experience has been, once I get out of my comfort zone, then I find new things that I'm actually good at. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a strength that I did not know I have until I took that leap. And so that can be really a growth area for a lot of women out there is, okay, you're comfortable. You don't want to step out of your comfort zone because you have no idea if you're going to be good at this one thing that you may want to try. But once you do it, I think most of the time you will find, wow, okay, I'm actually good at this. This is a strength of mine. And so I just would really encourage anyone out there that's having some thoughts of, hey, I want to make this change, I want to do this, but they just don't know if they can do it. I would almost guarantee that you can. You just have to
Yeah.
take that leap.
I want to share a quick story because I'm not a native English speaker, and I moved to England when I was very, very young. And so I always had this thing about, oh, English is not my first language. I have a bit of a, not very confident when it comes to writing. So I used to put in a lot of effort into writing really good emails. And then my mentor turned around and he's like, can you write this email? You're really good with these emails, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, really?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that he said that. I was like, maybe I'm good because I'm putting that extra effort because it didn't come to me naturally. And the funny thing is, from someone who wasn't very confident in the language, I failed my English test like twice before I passed it. Um,
Mhm.
Now we publish books, and I redact and edit these books and read everybody's chapters, and I'm the final person to sign off the magazine, and I'm the
Mhm.
editor in the magazine. I was like, how, when I thought this was my weakness, has now become my strength. So you don't really know, as you said, until you really venture out and try it, you don't know. And you can turn your weakness into a strength that could become a huge opportunity, which you never thought before.
Right. And, that really makes me think of, we're our harshest critics, right? What we see as things we're not good at, like your experience. Someone else said, oh, you're really good at this. Like, I need you to do more. And I think it's because we're all just really hard on ourselves. And especially as women, I think we self-analyze a little bit more than others. And so I think that we can often feel like, well, I'm not like the most amazing person at this, so I'm just not very good at it. When in reality, like just like your experience, wow, you actually are good at it. And that reminds me of one of the things we talked about in the magazine article as well. I had a scenario where my mentor and my manager at the time, I always thought being an introvert was not a good thing for me. And it was never speaking out in meetings. And, I just didn't, I felt like people thought I wasn't engaged, or maybe they thought I didn't really know what I was doing because I was quiet. But I voiced that concern to her, and she said, no, Emily, it's actually when you speak, you really have something important to say, and people really listen because of that. You're not just talking just to fill space. And I'm like, oh, so this is actually a strength that I'm not always talking. And since that point, I've felt really good about, like, okay, when I have something to say, it's going to be very valuable and very important, but it's okay that I'm not the main person talking in every meeting. And that was, gosh, 10 years ago. And I've taken that with me throughout. And so something that simple can be such a turning point if we just hone in on our network and our mentors and get that outside perspective.
The outside perspective is truly really, really valuable.
Mm.
I had similar experience. when people used to join my clubhouse rooms, and I've always had a thing about my voice. Like, I don't know, I felt very, again, not very confident about it.
Mm.
And somebody turned around and said, I come to your rooms because of your voice. Like, it's really calming. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, really? I didn't know
Yep,
that.
yep. I would absolutely agree. It always puts me at ease.
Yeah, it, it could be a strength which you may not realize.
Right.
Okay, so let's just give our ladies a little nudge of why do you think they should be attending the Women Thrive Summit? Why do you think it's important for us not only to be in a community, but carve out time for ourselves to be surrounded by other people?
Yeah, I think it's so important to be in rooms with like-minded women. And as I kind of mentioned before, a lot of us go through very similar experiences, and we need to feel seen and we need to feel that we're not alone. And the Women Thrive Summit is a great opportunity to that. For that, you're going to hear stories and testimonies basically from so many different women with all different perspectives, and what it will also do is it's going to open your mind to possibilities for you. You're going to hear how people have overcome so many different things, and you're going to know, okay, I can do that too because other women have done that. So, just from all of the showcases I participated in with Women Thrive, and just hearing these amazing stories with what people have overcome, how they're thriving, how they've found their passions, and how they continue to help other women do the same. It's just amazing to me to be in the same presence as all these other women. But I think what's the biggest takeaway from viewers out there, when you attend the Women Thrive Summit, you're going to feel so enthusiastic about your next steps and what you're going to do in the future. You're going to get that guidance and feel so passionate and seen and just ready for what's next.
Yeah. One of the ladies have certainly mentioned to me, as soon as I joined the summit, I just felt seen. You
Yeah.
just looked at me and you saw me. And I was like, and I remember that. I remember that moment with this lady particularly because I felt her energy in the room. She was one of the participants, but I really felt it. And I really appreciated her being there. Like, I appreciate every person who really invests in themselves. And I mean, this event is free, but what I mean by invest in yourself is invest in yourself by being present, by dedicating your time, by paying attention to something. And other people will invest in you because these women at the summit, they have prepared not only their talks, but they prepared books, free gifts, mini courses, additional resources, bonuses, ability for you to jump on the calls with them. There is a lot of value for a free event. There is a lot of value in it. And just being surrounded by other amazing, successful women, y- it makes you want to kind of up your game a little bit.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you mentioned, okay, this is an event that's going to be lasting a week, but what you're going to get from this is going to last far beyond a week. So that's one way to really look at it. You're investing in yourself for the long term just by attending the summit. And I think that is really the key way to look at it. If you just take some time to invest that week, you're going to get so much from it for the next year, 2 years, and so on. And plus, you're going to be part of the community then. So you're going to have all these contacts of these amazing women that you can have that community with.
Yeah, amazing. One of our participants mentioned that your Thrive Collective, which means your pod from the Women Thrive
Yes.
Speakers group, you're doing a panel. Tell us a little bit more about the panel that you're doing in February 24th.
Yeah, so my Thrive Collective pod, we're doing that panel February 24th, and we're really talking about not shrinking yourself to fit into whether it's the workplace you're at or the community that you're a part of. We're talking about confidence, standing strong, and being the real you, as well as knowing who you really are. So, we're going to talk about from our perspectives what we've experienced when it comes to that and how you can overcome those and things that you can do to ensure that you're not shrinking in the spaces that you're in.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Emily, how do people connect with you?
So I am very active on LinkedIn, so you can reach out to me there. I'd love to connect. I'm all about networking, so please reach out on there. I also have a website, apluswomen.com, so you can look at everything I offer there. And I'm on Facebook as well, and so you can find me on Emily Jackson on Facebook also.
Amazing. Looking forward to having you at the Women Thrive Summit. Do you remember which day you're speaking?
March 16th.
Okay, you're
Yes.
on opening
Day
day.
one. Yep.
Amazing. Well, once again, do make sure you head over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your free spots, or you can upgrade for a paid ticket. But the biggest investment that you can do in yourself is dedicate the time to be there, to have your presence. This is a virtual, but it's a live event, which means all of our speakers going to be doing this live, which means your participation, that's all that's needed for you to start making those connections and start experiencing transformation. Because when you are in a room with an amazing, creative, successful entrepreneurial women, you can't help but want to level up your own game. And this is what's going to be happening during the week of the summit. We celebrating Women's History Month, International Women's Day. This is a time for us to really step up, switch up, and get to that success. Emily, excited to have you here. Thank you so much for your shares today.
Thank you so much, Raimonda, for your time today. And thank you for everyone that tuned in. I'm excited to see you during the Women Thrive Summit and during my Switch Up and Step Up talk on March 16th.
Amazing. And leave a comment below if you have enjoyed this conversation. Let us know where you joined us from and tap into more amazing interviews with our Women Thrive Summit speakers from the 2026 event. Look forward to seeing you again on another live. Take care. Bye.